Hello folks and welcome to my channel. I'm Stace and today is the first video in my Skillshare course review series, which is exciting. I'm going to be doing all sorts of Skillshare courses and then collecting my thoughts and sharing them so I can help you to decide if they will be worth your time. I'm going to start out by saying that I am not sponsored by or affiliated with Skillshare in any way. I just really like learning in my spare time. I started out with Ali Abdaal's Productivity Masterclass, Principles and Tools to Boost Your Productivity. If there are any courses that you'd like to see covered, please let me know in the comments. And with that, let's get started. So, this particular course was just under 2 hours long. It comprised of 15 lessons and they ranged from 2 to 20 minutes in length. The camera angles were varied, the set was nice, and the audio was really clear. It seemed a really high quality class from the beginning, and I appreciated the fact that Ali actively draws diagrams at times to explain what he's talking about. That extra visual reference really helped to get across the concepts that were key to understanding the content of his classes. My first impressions were that Ali is really friendly and very clear in his delivery of his concepts, thoughts, and suggestions. He's engaging to listen to, and his enthusiasm for the subjects he discusses is really clear, which makes the course even more enjoyable to watch overall. I appreciated that he also made this course interactive. At the end of each lesson, there is a class prompt to help encourage what he calls reflective practice. These prompts were super interesting and thought-provoking, and whilst I didn't do each one at the end of each class as suggested, I would certainly like to go back and do them at some point. This particular class, one of a few in his Productivity Masterclass series, covers 3 principles of productivity and the tools that might help improve yours. In these principles are 3 myths, 3 laws, and the 3 powers of productivity. Ali discusses some super interesting concepts for each of these sections, from things like the productivity equation to his explanation about the idea of the pilot and the plane. He explains these things in a way that's easy to understand and applies plenty of examples to help set context and relatability. Throughout the course, Ali struck me as someone who's very open and honest about their own struggles, and I was pleased to hear on several occasions that tailoring productivity is a very personal thing and that he's just talking about what works for him. Admittedly, I did half expect to kind of hear just a general list of things and apps that everyone is simply told to use and follow for foolproof productivity improvement, but Ali simply suggests that there are things you can consider trying or changing and seeing if that does result in improvement for you. I liked that he also gave plenty of recommendations for further reading. There must have been like 5 or 6 different book recommendations throughout the course, some of which I want to add to my own want to read list, and it adds the value of giving you suggestions for further learning and resources. He's also really clear about which books particular resources or concepts have come from, which means that you can then choose to go and learn more about specific things if you believe it might work for you or if you simply found it interesting. I took 5 A4 pages of notes throughout this 2-hour class, and I definitely think it gives lots of food for thought. There were of course things I didn't agree with, however, but much of this is going to be down to personal preference. I kind of knew it would be in there somewhere, but Ali used my least favourite productivity phrase in one of these lessons, the one about us all having the same 24 hours and therefore having no excuse. And you all know how I feel about that. That phrase misses out the key context of personal circumstances. So yes, we do all have 24 hours in a day, but those 24 hours are completely different for everyone. There was some talk as well about negative motivation, which wasn't something I was really on board with, and it's this idea of having 2 choices when it comes to motivation. You can make an action more enjoyable, or you can make the consequences of inaction more painful. And I couldn't really agree with that latter bit because I don't think negative motivation should be leveraged against yourself. But his suggestion for it was really a bit unusual because he suggested promising a friend that you're going to give them a lot of money if you don't complete a task, and then you have to honour it if you fail. And that really just seemed a little ridiculous to me, to involve losing money in trying to get yourself to do work, but I suppose there's a chance it will work for some people. The final thing I found a little bit jarring was the general sense that every spare minute should be utilised for something productive. The idea of productive downtime especially. Both are interesting concepts, but luckily Ali did state that actual downtime is necessary for people sometimes, which I was pleased to hear. But he does speak about how building productive habits is about building an identity that reflects the kind of person that you want to be. This is a fascinating idea, but Ali then spoke about how now he can't even sit and binge watch TV shows for a couple of hours because it somehow feels wrong or unproductive, and that kind of made me a little bit sad. You know, the act of doing nothing, the fact that it can somehow feel wrong when sometimes that's just exactly what we need, and it just seemed a little bit extreme. I consider myself a pretty productive person, but I'm still also able to allow myself time to sometimes sit and do nothing without feeling bad for it, which I think is really key for self-care and actually maintaining that productivity long term. As I said though, he was very clear that this is a personal thing to him, and it's just he personally feels like he doesn't like to let minutes go to waste if there's something else he could be doing, and that true relaxation and downtime is completely valid. Overall, I enjoyed this class, and I'll certainly be checking out more of Ali's lessons in the future. I think there's a lot of value in the things that he discusses, and the way it's presented makes it easy to digest and to imagine whether or not it's going to work for you. If you have time and the subscription, this one is definitely worth a try. I'm not sure which class I'll be doing next. I added so many to my dashboard because I love that there are so many new things and perspectives I can learn about just through this one subscription. Again, I will reiterate that I'm not sponsored by or affiliated with Skillshare in any way. I just really enjoyed learning. I want to do courses that can be linked to all the areas that my channel covers, and I look forward to deciding which one to explore next. Do you have a Skillshare subscription, or are you thinking about getting one? Let me know in the comments, and do feel free to recommend any classes as well. Look after yourselves, and remember that the way that works best for you is the right way. I'll see you on the next video. Bye!